in the middle. Good evening and welcome to Going for Two. This is the only YouTube podcast in human recorded history to feature a male and female host drinking our way through the important topics of the day, as long as they touch the football world and not in that way. I am Zach, and this is So What, Sharona. We're recording on April 20, is it 26th or 25th? I don't remember.
26th.
Something. Yeah, 26th. 2017 had the wrong date on there. We lack guests, but we do not lack beers. I have a Ladanian Tomlinson of beers, the double brown throwdown, which I picked up more of. Think like, it's a brown ale, so it has that maltiness, maybe a little bit of bitterness, and then it's got that chocolatey kind of like, remember your mom gave you access to the Hershey's when you had to actually open it with the can opener, and you poured half of it into your glass of milk? It's got that kind of chocolate thing going for it. And I have a special beer I purchased in a special town last weekend. Sweet baby Jesus. Now,
You're down with the Jesus beers these days.
I pronounce it Duclaw. I don't know if that's how it's pronounced. It's out of Baltimore. And I did not expect to find this beer from Baltimore in Hickory, North Carolina, but I did last weekend. It's a chocolate peanut butter porter, so Sharona probably will like it as much as my fruity beers. But that's okay, because she ain't.
Why would I not like that? I'm team peanut butter. You have me confused with Matt Harmon.
Well,
who is anti-peanut butter, which I don't understand.
And very pro Brussels sprouts, something.
I like Brussels sprouts, so I'm okay with that.
It always tends to be, you end up cooking the Brussels sprouts with bacon, and that doesn't hurt the whole situation. Maybe that's me being southernized. I don't know. But yeah, we're here.
I'm okay with it.
Today is really a time for hashtag fake news. So with the draft starting tomorrow and apparently going for the next 43 days, the Titans are clearly trading their picks, and they clearly are not. Is this the point in the draft pre-time where you just go, I'm going to gloss over it until it actually happens?
I think there's a lot of misinformation and a lot of smoke screens and all of that. Do I think that the Titans are interested in trading out? Absolutely. What interest is there in some quarterback needy teams trading up and snagging one of these quarterbacks? I mean, I think it would have already happened. As we saw last year going into last year's draft, it happened. And so, I mean, I don't know it's a weird draft class, and I'm not alone in saying that. So I feel pretty confident about that opinion as opposed to some of my other, harebrained opinions. But no, I mean, it is a weird draft, and there are probably a lot of teams that might trade out. Even though there's Jacksonville sitting there, and it's interesting watching the chatter about Blake Bortles, and it's a not for long league, and he's still young, and it would be astonishing to me if the Jaguars gave up on him so quickly, but it's going to be fascinating to watch it go down. I'll just say that.
Yeah, I would say players approaching their fifth-year option, I know you're going to love this comparison, are like a beer. You're going to know whether you want to give your beer a fifth-year option right away. If you're on the fence, you probably shouldn't do it.
Yeah.
Bortles is hashtag quarterback, but they're, the Titans were talking about Taylor Lewan. They're like, oh, yeah, we're getting to sign him to the fifth-year option.
Yeah.
That's going to happen, although this might be a good offseason to give him an extension. I know how you feel about Taylor Lewan, so we won't talk about him very long.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I don't have Parrish Cox anymore. That's probably a good thing.
Yeah. I was quite proud of the Titans for, that he clashed with a lot of the fan base via social media. Probably didn't help his cause. Taylor Lewan is interesting, and I just I understand. I'm thinking about this in terms of just having read Ryan Leaf's very powerful letter to his younger self, like literally 30 minutes ago. And when you're young, and I put myself in this category, yes, I know, shocking at what time I was young, and we
Oh,
all make mistakes, and you know the arrogance of youth and all of that. But the thing that bothers me the most about Taylor Lewan is that he's never, I don't feel like he's remorseful at all over his actions. And yeah, I mean, that bothers me. What he did was awful on such a huge level, and that he doesn't feel remorse for it is yeah, I mean, it bothers me. I'm not going to pretend otherwise.
yeah. I'm wondering, as a football player, if you acknowledge these issues you had in the past, or you just have that lawyer or agent in your ear going, they're going to forget about it. They're going to forget about it. It was the draw play, did a comic strip with Laramie Tunzel in there. And the joke was kind of like, yeah, if you get caught smoking pot or you wear something weird, everyone's going to remember that a lot more than if you actually commit like domestic violence or something. The NFL kind of pushes those bigger things under the rug, but then these relatively minor things get so much attention and no one can ever get over it. And I guess the way to go, I mean, it's hard to compare it to politics, but it's like, if someone doesn't talk about it, then eventually people are going to forget about it.
Well, I mean, and that's the thing. Certainly in local circles, it was not reported on. It was largely ignored, and so when I reported on it, it was fans coming at me. You're lying. Nobody else is talking about this, and that was, um, interesting and in some ways hard because it was in fact something that that did happen. But yeah, it's easy to forget things that aren't really, it's an interesting time in journalism and sports journalism, particularly with all the layoffs that we've seen over the course of the past few days. And it's an interesting discussion on what role sports media, sports journalists occupy in this changing landscape that we're seeing going to a more digital world and all of that. We should have these conversations.
Yeah, we're definitely seeing how things are changing because ESPN like fired a bunch of people today, and that was a pretty big thing on the timeline.
Yeah, I know there are people tracking it out there, and the word is that it's roughly about 100 people that have lost or going to lose their jobs, and we've seen a lot of big names and all of that, and it's kind of fascinating to look and to see who is retained versus who is let go. And for me, I mean, the biggest name that stands out to me that I'm just utterly shocked and it's gut wrenching is Jane McManus. I mean, I just can't fathom why ESPN would let her go, except that I have to believe that she was probably one of the better paid journalists there. And, I mean, it wouldn't shock me to see them go younger and cheaper.
I was wondering the sports media version of Moneyball, since they have put all this money into rights and
Yeah.
people aren't subscribing as much as they used to.
Yeah.
I have heard rumors that they're going to be kind of doing a la carte, which I think people would like with their channels. Because with ESPN, it's like I feel like I get to have a big cable package to get that, so I can watch the sports.
Yeah.
Sorry, the sport, as we talked earlier this week. The one sport that matters, the one true sport. you have to have a cable package to catch it all.
They are one of the main reasons why, cable subscription. Hello,
And that's
Iggy.
Titans are looking at her at the 3-4 linebacker. I think she's got some
She
moves.
she'd be good. She's a good one.
They could just kind of rub the quarterback though. I wouldn't exactly, go for the knockdown.
So I forget where. Oh yeah, cord cutters. So yeah, yeah, it's. I don't currently have cable and would not purchase cable. It's hugely. It's a huge cost, and it's mostly trash, and I'm not going to pay for trash. And I'm not talking about ESPN. I'm talking about cable in particular, in general. And so, but yeah, the a la carte idea, I think, has a lot of value to it. I wonder how they'll structure it and all of that. And so we'll see.
Yes, we will. So, how are your thoughts on a round one? Because I will occasionally send Sharona, mock drafts.
Hey, listen, hey, reading mock draft is my brand.
Well, there's so many of them, and most of them have Titans taking a receiver in the first round, which you don't seem to be in favor of. It does seem like wide receiver, it's still not really clear who the top guy is because, I feel like you could have failed a pot test or have been caught doing bad things with girlfriends or dogs. But if you don't get to do the combine drills like Corey Davis hasn't because he had surgery, it's such a black mark on him. And, oh, yeah, he played Western Michigan. Oh, no, directional school, even though it looks like he played pretty well against the bigger schools when he had a chance.
Yeah.
It just doesn't look like this draft has that wide receiver one, that A.J. Green, Julio Jones kind of guy that is just going to take the top cornerback and like safety help kind of situation.
Yeah,
Plus,
I don't see that guy, and not that there's anything wrong with taking a good. Well, I forget, where did the Vikings take Laquan Treadwell last year? I know he was a first rounder.
He's a first rounder, yeah.
It was later on. I personally would not select any of the wide receivers in this draft at 5. But I've long
it does seem early, but
yeah, I've long been on the bandwagon that the Titans trade out of that spot if they get an opportunity, and so we'll see. It's going to be fascinating to see how it kind of all plays out.
Yeah, basically the GM John Robinson has a price, kind of like the Patriots have a price for Garoppolo, and no one's going to pay for it.
Yeah.
And in the case, maybe, with the quarterbacks, I don't know if this is what was it, the E.J. Manuel, Geno Smith year of quarterbacks, if it's that bad. It seems like there are more players, but they're kind of secondary. Like you mentioned earlier, and a point that I didn't really think about, last year's quarterbacks, teams traded up for those picks way before the draft. Yeah. The Rams traded for that pick for Goff. I felt like it was a month before the draft. It might have been.
It was like 3 weeks. I think it was.
Really, really early. Like they knew we want this guy. And the Eagles were like, well, we want this, North Dakota State dude. So he's coming in. But I don't have a really clear feel for who the top guy is. I already made the joke this week. I'm like, saving the space on the Browns quarterback jersey for whoever comes after Trubisky, because
I don't think there's a clear number one this year, and I think that it's I like your comparison to that year, and I think that was the year that the Giants take Ryan Nassib that year, and
there's always that quarterback. It's like 2 years ago, was it Tom Savage, who was totally mediocre in college, but everybody was like, he's going to be a first-round pick. And Nassib had that same, he's going to be a first-round pick. And where did he go in the 4th round? And this year it's a guy called Davis Webb, who I think was behind Goff last year. And he's just one of those, I'm tall and I can throw the ball really hard guys.
Yeah.
And there are certain traits. You know, if you read Matt Waldman, you're going to learn a lot about traits that players have. And that's one that people get very excited about. Although, damn, all these air raid, you know, all these offenses that just throw the ball over the field, apparently they suck because those quarterbacks can't transition to the NFL because it's a lot less complicated system. But then you're like, well, why make the system so damn complicated? You see what Washington did with RG3's rookie year? That was genius and didn't, you know, last for a long time, but that was nice.
Well, so listen, RG, you know, I would love to have seen what RG3 would have done had he stayed healthy. I don't know how healthy the Washington Redskins are as an organization, and I think that, you know, I think that RG3 creates some of his own problems. But I also don't think that, you know, he landed in the right spot and, you know, with the injuries. But, you know, is he on a roster right now? I know he's with.
I don't know if Cleveland cut him or not.
Let's see.
I just see, and now you remind me of when Cleveland played the Titans, and the guy in the row in front of me had a brand new sewn on everything RG3 jersey, and I was like, you poor dear.
He's a free agent.
That's going to be not something good. Yeah, I mean, he had this crazy athleticism, and they picked a good offense for him. But, yeah, he never knew how to, like, slide and go out of bounds, and he was not a big guy. And, you know, Dan Marino once, like, tore his Achilles and didn't even get hit. Sometimes injuries just happen, and it doesn't
I think
a running quarterback versus not a running quarterback.
Jake Locker had a non-contact injury too, and it seems like the hammy that Vince Young pulled in the infamous game, you know, I'll never forget that. Watching that go down.
The Washington game where he threw his crap into the stands, and that was kind of like the end.
That was later. That was like years later. I mean, this was the Jacksonville game, the first home game of the season.
Yes.
Yeah. I watched that go down, and I was so close, and I could see it, you know, and I literally watched it all go down because I'll watch the sidelines, or I used to. I don't, not like that anymore, but, you know, I'll never forget that. Anyway, how do we get off on that? Oh, yeah, non-contact injury. Carry on.
Funny how multiple Titans quarterbacks came up then, you know?
Yeah. Yeah.
And then we have, all the happy Mariota stories. Boy, just wrap the dude in plastic until the season starts. I mean, forget it.
I say a nightly prayer for Marcus Mariota that he stays healthy.
I'm going to throw out the comparison I've done before. The first 2 years of Matt Stafford's career, he was hurt, and everybody thought he was injury prone. He has missed a game since. Maybe this happens. Now, Matthew Stafford doesn't ever run, even though he is a little athletic, you know. He's running like it's last call sometimes, but, you know, it's he's all right.
Well, I mean, okay. if you're most, you know, if the most athletic player you have on your roster is your quarterback, I think you probably have problems. But, you know, there's nothing wrong with athleticism in a quarterback, and it's good, but you can't rely on that alone, and that was part of Vince Young's problem, is in that he wanted to do that. And anyway,
he would take people on. I mean, Locker did that too. Remember, like the preseason game where he
throw a block like nobody's business.
He dove into a guy like to get a first down. And it was like preseason. Like, dude, you've seen Mariota like slide 5 yards short of the first down marker. Like, I mean, it's been a good transition for him because he had designated runs in college, but in the NFL, they have not done too many designated runs with him. When they do, he's going diagonal out of bounds. So
I approve. Be smart, young man. Oh.
Sweet baby Jesus.
Sweet baby Jesus, a popular phrase of mine. Sweet baby Jesus, give me patience. I'm constantly.
We
How
we
you
haven't
doing?
done. I think we haven't done the pour one out. I'll have to pour one out for my Titans beer opener because apparently I brought it to a house for a party and I left it there. So I got this
Uh,
crazy contraption. I always have to play it with something while I'm doing a show. So I got this beer opener, wine opener. It's got a weird knife in there. I mean, I did buy it in
I
North
play.
Carolina, so you have to have a deadly weapon in there. I think that's
I play
required.
with my headset cord. And that's what I play with.
Don says getting dark. Don's giving me a play-by-play on Facebook as we're going. At first, he was like, "I haven't gotten the show yet." I'm
Hey,
like, "What?"
Don! I miss you, buddy. Come
We're
back.
just watching the seasons change here on Zelda Drive.
It did get dark very quickly at the old homestead.
Well, I was hoping that the big screen would give me enough light, but I don't have it on the white screen. When I do that, it's like, "Wow, you are pale." Uh huh. So, are we worried at all about Kevin Dodd? They're still talking about his foot. Might
I've
that mean the Titans are looking at an outside linebacker
I've already written
somewhere?
Kevin Dodd off, and here I am. I
The
know
second round curse.
Sharona's so hypocritical. No, I mean, I'm not worried about Kevin Dodd. I think that you have to be patient with young guys, and the injury is concerning, but I didn't really factor him into any of my. I don't know how the team feels, but I'm proceeding as if Kevin Dodd is probably going to be a non-factor. If he is healthy and contributes, great. I want him to succeed, but I don't have a positive feel there.
Never a good sign. I mean, I'm trying to remember when he hurt his foot, but they clearly wanted him to kind of play through it. And most of the time that doesn't work. And then he had to have surgery.
Yeah,
It's like, oh man, your rookie year,
I'm sure he
pass
wanted to
rushing in
play
the
through
NFL is
it.
a tough
You
transition.
guys want to be on the field. You don't want to. You want to contribute. You want to show your talents. I mean, I don't blame anybody. I don't blame anybody for that. I just, it is what it is.
And did you enjoy the slight amount of drama behind Derrick Henry not showing up to voluntary workouts, him unfollowing Paul Kuharsky, and oh no, and then now Paul Kuharsky is
He blocked him.
one of the early. Maybe he heard early, but it was a couple days ago that it made the rounds that Paul
Yeah,
Kuharsky was no longer with ESPN. And it turned out he wasn't just him.
yeah.
I wonder if they're even doing all that kind of insider with the team coverage. I was trying to use this as a back scratcher. I need one of yours clearly because it was getting stuck.
You definitely should get on my level.
Yeah,
It matches my shirt. I'm wearing my Batman shirt, by the way. Um,
I got my
yes.
code blue, y'all. I don't even
Aw.
know if they do this anymore because they never win at home. Maybe this year. Gotta change, maybe.
Derrick Henry is in school back at Alabama and not attending voluntary workouts.
Yeah.
Um,
The key word, voluntary, yet in the NFL, it's almost like, yeah, is it really voluntary?
my pref
Technically.
my preference is for guys if they can to show up for voluntary workouts for these OTAs, and I think it's especially important for young guys to do it. But it is voluntary. He is in school, and I equally support these guys going back if they did not finish their college career, going back to get that college education because you're only an injury away from your playing career being over. The NFL stands for not for long. And I don't know what the latest numbers are, but I mean, it used to be like 3.5 years was the average play span for an NFL career. So it's it's a not for long league. Now, having said all of that, and the Titans don't seem too worried about it, but having said all of that, in John Robinson's press conference the other day, it did come out that Mike Mularkey had not heard from Derrick Henry, and that does concern me. And so if there's some sort of breach there, in fact, I meant to do this. When I saw that, I meant to do it. Let me see who his agent is. If there's some sort of breach there, I do hope that that gets mended.
Yeah, I think you definitely, if you're in school, you would say, hey, like at the beginning of the semester, hey, by the way. And I'm in Alabama. They might have a better workout center than the Titans have. I don't even know. You don't have to pay the players, so that's, nice when you need it.
Not hired an agent. Surely he's got an agent now.
I mean, Derrick Henry.
Agent, here we go.
I need to smile. You can see me now, my teeth. How you doing? I'm still here. How you doing?
Oh, shit. Crap.
These are the words Sharona says when she goes, all I gotta do is show tonight.
No, it's what I say when you try to
bitch.
give me bullshit video instead of just telling me what I want to know.
Tell her what she wants to know.
He has a Nike contract.
He won the Heisman. Shouldn't he be doing Subway commercials or something? Who won the Heisman last year? I don't even remember.
He signed with Athlete Speakers, so he does have that. I don't know. I'm not finding. Anyway, I assume that he has an agent, and I don't know who that person is. I assume that his agent is giving him advice, and I hope that the advice that he is receiving is good advice.
Yeah, well.
But it is voluntary, and I won't start to get concerned until, we move a little bit closer to training camp and all of that. I mean,
And Derrick Henry did come out, I think, as a junior. So yeah, he had some classes left. Let's stay at Alabama though. So are you still team Rubes Foster? You all over the Foster train, the bargain basement Donta Hightower plus some off the field issues.
I like Reuben Foster a lot as an NFL draft prospect, and in terms of when you look at a position by position analysis of the guys who are top 100 or roughly there in that framework, what he can do, the guys who can do what he can do, you can count on one hand. It's not a very deep spot. And really, there's only two that intrigue me. And that's Reuben Foster and Gerard Davis. So it's interesting that, he's got this diluted sample. And he wasn't the only one. Jabril Peppers did too. And I know a lot of people have been trying to downplay this, whitewash it, so to speak. But the fact is if you have a diluted sample at the combine, I don't see how it's not a legitimate concern. I just don't, and I'm well aware of what some players, NFL players, have tried to say. I'm also very well aware of how drug testing works, and I don't profess to be an expert on the ins and outs of the NFL drug policy, and I've written about this. Has some issues, and I don't care if he smokes weed or whatever. I do care though, if I'm an NFL GM, whether he's smart enough to follow the rules and be on the field when I need him to be, and I don't have that confidence in him now. So I, as a fake news, fake pretend GM, took him off my first round draft board.
You took him off the board. You
Yeah.
have so much love. Seems like he's the one guy who had a potential to come in there, even though they did just sign Woodyard to an extension. Like, it doesn't seem like they have that second guy inside who can actually cover on third down.
Yeah, and what did they give Wesley Woodyard? Who I like a lot, don't get me wrong, but he's like, I mean,
I swear it's a relatively small deal, but it was an extension. I didn't think he was.
Wesley Woodyard just went through the NFL media boot camp. He knows his days are numbered. He's a smart guy.
Boot camp. That's right, all
Let
you
me see.
journalism grads, you're going to get passed up by ex-players, so plan accordingly.
It's a cold world. It's a 2-year extension through 2019. Excuse me.
That's right.
Signed a 3-year, $12.5 million contract. Let's see. Yeah, the Roto World says it won't stop them from upgrading, and I agree. I mean, they will rotate, but the other interesting thing is Avery Williamson is up. Now, when is his? I mean,
I feel like this is the last year of his deal. Like, this is the
yeah,
first year that they can extend. I think it's between 3 and 4.
yeah,
And that hasn't happened. And the team has.
yeah.
They have a lot of cap room, so they can make room. That's why if they want to do the Taylor Lewan deal, this is a good year.
Shut
I'm
up!
sorry to interrupt, but I can't help. And now that you start talking, I can't stop. What's wrong with me? I won't. Okay.
He's a free agent after this season. So yeah, I mean, it's always a good idea to be ahead of the curve on these things, which is why I was looking at that spot for the Titans. And so what I did in my ITP mock draft is trade out of 5. And I ended up getting, I think,
The
15.
dreaded Colts.
Then I traded 15 and I ended up with 17 and 18. And I took Gerard Davis and Quincy Wilson, a linebacker and a cornerback.
Don really wants to see my face, apparently. He keeps commenting to me on Facebook about how dark it is in here.
You're very dark. I mean, it's,
if I turn the light on, it's going to be really light in a hurry. You might not be
Well, do it.
All right, fine. Can Sharona vamp? I think she can. There's a kitty behind you. The kitty's calling from inside the house. Oh, no. I mean, I'd break something.
This is my baby. She's my sweetheart.
Problem is the light's right here. Let's see. Is this super close? Oh, yeah. Is that better? It's like, what are you doing?
Is Iggy.
Can you just not do that and pet me instead? That's the way to go. Okay, now I'm in the damn light right now.
She's so funny. I know everybody thinks that their pets are the best and the funniest and the most awesome, but mine really are.
They have quite the personality, or we quite give that to them. So yeah, it's a big week for Ryan Leaf. Like, he had an article in Sports Illustrated a couple days ago that I read. I didn't see the Players Tribune thing you mentioned.
Oh, I didn't see the Sports Illustrated one.
So I feel like Americans like to forgive, and they also like to make fun of people who are screwing up in the moment.
Well, it just
so
depends.
Ryan Leaf kind of ran into it. Like, basically him and Peyton, it really was, yeah, like a neck-and-neck situation. But Peyton was the 4-year starter golden boy, never did anything wrong in college, right, Sharona? And Ryan Leaf was the brash, he kind of played the feel like the role was kind of thrust upon him to be the dark
The heel.
character in this deal.
Well, I mean, I don't know what else to add to what I said earlier. And, are we for, excuse me, are we forgiving? Well, I think it just depends. And it's interesting. I've been thinking a lot about um, how we collectively view punishment and reward in this country, and it's fascinating, and we could easily have a 3-hour show just on that topic alone. It's like,
Man.
it's simplistic to think that bad things happen to bad people and good things only happen to good people, when really I think it's usually quite the opposite. I mean, bad things happen to good people all the time, and good things happen to bad people. And I personally don't believe in the philosophy that sympathy and empathy are to be doled out based on one's um, worthiness. I mean, because who defines worthiness? I mean, sympathy and empathy are, I think, important qualities to have, and often sadly lacking in this day and age. Get off my lawn.
They sure are. Whippersnapper. Now, this was on my timeline right before the show. Tampa Bay signed Chris Baker, the baby maker. Just had to say that because it seems like anytime a player is named Baker, you got to put the baby maker after that. That's just me.
Oh yeah, okay.
That's something Cecil Lamb. It's Cecil Lammy's fault. It's not me.
I was about to Google him to see if he was a baby maker. I don't know.
Well, he does have kids.
Okay. I mean,
now, do you wish you were a GM since you went trade crazy with your ITP drafts?
oh Lord, yes, I should be a GM. Why am I not a GM?
Because stupid people.
Yeah, roster construction fascinates me, and I've always can't. It used to be. It's not like this anymore because the NFL messed up the draft, and it will never be as good as it used to be. But it's fun to play GM, and now I'm getting dark. I don't know.
Compared to me.
Yeah, it's fun to play GM and wheel and deal and do all of that stuff. And so yeah, it's very enjoyable.
I swear there was one year, our local fantasy league, we'd meet every year for the draft. And one year the draft had to have started like at 9 o'clock on Saturday, and it was like a whole day deal. And then the next year it started at noon. But yeah, this Thursday, Friday, Saturday thing, just a little too choppy. Saturday, of course, those last few rounds, they aren't even paying attention to the picks. They're just kind of, going over the same like 3 stories that they seem to like. But I don't know. I guess that I'll be asking you very shortly what you think about all this, how the draft's set. Because you were there last year, but you're not going to Philly, right?
I'm not going to Philly, and
Boo. Boo to Philly, not you.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, I'm glad that I'm getting that break, and I didn't particularly want to go to Philly and cover the draft for a lot of reasons, but now that it's here, it's like I kind of wish I was there. No, I'm gonna be. It's kind of nice to be off-site this year and able to, because it is a grind. I mean, it's definitely a grind, but I do enjoy it. Maybe next year. We'll see where the draft's going to be, and it does look like Philly's doing a very good job hosting it. So,
Well, I saw you were posting, about kind of the guides to the draft and all that. I was like, but But they're not bringing you. You're supposed to be there. There's no draft without Sharona, right?
I know. No, I mean it's fun. Listen, um, it is fun to be on site and covering the draft and being involved in all of that. And again, it's a huge grind, but it is. There's nothing like it, and it's fun. And yeah, maybe next year. Um, so yeah,
Will the NFL ever do anything major in Nashville, or is that never going to happen?
I don't know. I mean, maybe by 2050 they'll want to host. I don't know. I mean, it's we. You know, 10 years ago we would be sitting here saying there's no way the NFL would ever allow a team in Las Vegas, and they're. Yeah.
Cha-ching, cha-ching.
Yeah, I mean, with the current state of the NFL, it's never say never, I guess.
One thing we always say, bring it on to, is the world famous over it or not segment. It's weird. There's like a light
Now I'm
behind you, but your light is, yeah.
now I'm dark. That's better. I don't know what happened.
So, over
Oh,
it
you
or
see
not.
my teddy bear?
There you go.
Yes, I still have stuffed animals.
Hmm.
Most of them are in the other room.
It's okay.
Over. Oh, we're doing. Oh, wow! It's gone
Over
by
it
fast.
or not. All right.
Uh,
Patriots going running back crazy with Gillespie, however you pronounce his name.
over it. I mean, I I sat and watched all that go down on my timeline, and I was like, slow news season enough? I mean, that was so noteworthy was kind of baffling to me, but okay, yeah, right, go.
Well, everything the Patriots does is good. We'll kind of ignore last week, but other than that, yeah, they signed Super Bowl star James White to an extension. They already had Deion Lewis, who's great for about 3 quarters till he gets injured. And then they signed Rex Burkhead. When they signed him, I think everybody assumed he was this year's Blunt. And LeGarrette Blunt was a great, best ball guy to pick last year, in the 10th to 12th round, because he had 18 touchdowns. So you thought, okay, Rex Burkhead is this guy. He also can catch passes. He was a Week 17 wonder. And then they signed Mike Gillislee, and then everybody, all the stats guys are like, oh, he had these great stats, and the Patriots clearly saw that. But now they have, 4 guys who could get 10 to 15 touches a week.
You have a gazillion running backs,
And
and you
Tom
should.
Brady's not handing the ball off 10 to 15 times a week to that
Yeah,
guy.
I mean, you should never trust a Patriots running back anyway, and so I
He's
mean,
throwing 3-yard passes to Edelman and Cooks and Gronk. And by the way, I got followed by Gronk family on Twitter this week. I don't know if that's the official Rob Gronkowski thing, but hey, look at me. As my Twitter following decays slowly, I'm like, save me, Gronk, save me. It's okay. That's all right. All right, Schroeder was not impressed by my first one. Over it or not. Let's pretend that we start strong and finish strong, even though we didn't either. Not being on site on draft day. Okay, we already said that. Dang it. Bad planning.
I'm not over it because I have very conflicted. I have conflicted emotions, but it was a conscious decision not to do it this year. And it was a good decision. It just wasn't for a lot of reasons. Zach knows this. A
Stuff.
health I had a health issue that I knock on wood. I think that I've conquered. Hopefully, um, hopefully, I feel good, and I think that I'm okay to say that I've conquered that, and so. But I wasn't sure, and I was like, your health really is so important. And, for a long, long time, I'd literally worked myself to death for many, many, many years. And, and I didn't pay enough attention to my health. And so I've spent a couple of years, trying to rectify that and work on my physical well-being, and I feel good about where I am. And so yeah, it did not manifest itself in time for me to make any concrete plans, but so maybe next year.
I think watching a draft from the Sharona compound could be interesting, but
I'm excited to actually be able to really enjoy it like I usually do this year, be offside, and I'm going to be joining my buddies at Cats Chronicles and doing the top 10 picks, which is going to be fun. That's kind of become a draft night tradition, and I'm excited about that because they're legitimately just great dudes, and it's always so fun. And so yeah.
if anybody should be in Cats Chronicles, it's two of us. Well, at least you. You got
No.
Chronicles. Well, mine don't care about being. And mine
Oh.
don't want to be camera. They don't like it so much. So over or nah, watching the draft live. It looks like since you're actually doing a show that you're definitely going to be watching it Thursday.
Yeah.
But will you be watching it pick by pick, like Friday night, Saturday as well?
Absolutely. Yeah. Covering the draft for what, like the past 3 year, 2 years, 3 years. Anyway, if you're new to the show or new to me, I legitimately, of course, I don't remember when the draft kind of went from literally farming fields. I don't remember when the draft coverage began on ESPN. I guess maybe in the 80s. I don't know. But for as long as I can remember, I have watched the draft and been just huge into the draft. And when it used to be good and it was on the weekends and you could, it was started on Saturday morning, it was like a thing. I mean, my family knew not to bother me. It was like, this is what I'm doing. And so it's kind of going to be fun too when the draft sort of moved to prime time. It changed things, and I was covering it, and so I'm really looking forward to enjoying it, like kind of like I used to.
Yeah, it was weird the one year that I was covering it, and I was like the Titans guy for the Bleacher Report. And basically, yeah, it was when the team made a pick, you had to write an article. They had to update like two more articles. And then the Titans traded up for Justin Hunter that year. That's right, everybody. Justin Hunter season. So I had to with like 5 minutes notice, do like an article about that and keep posting it. And it was, yeah, nonstop. Like Saturday was just rough because I don't know how long the draft goes on Saturday, but it seems like 6 to 8 hours or something. And every time the team makes a pick, you write an article, update two or three things, and then when the draft is over, you got to go cover all the undrafted guys that are being picked up, and that's being kind of covered
It's a
live as
grind.
well.
I mean,
It
it's
doesn't
work.
really end until Sunday afternoon, and it's a lot. And I was kind of glad to have the experience. And then the next year they kind of offered it. I was like, I did this. I've been there. Because really, being on the clock is a totally different experience. You get to be a fan this year. I can harass you on Twitter, and you might respond to me. Well, we'll see about that. But yeah,
Yeah.
I need to get a fake, like a Don Twitter account because Don's a Facebook guy, so I could do that. I could probably make that more popular than my regular account. Wouldn't take long.
Yeah, I'm excited. I'm excited to see what. Excuse me, beer makes me burp, which is why I don't drink it very much. I'm excited to see what the Panthers do. It's fun.
I'll be there till the last pick. Was it Mr. Irrelevant?
Probably not. Um, back in the good old days when it was on the weekend and it was more about the draft than it was about infotainment, entertainment. I would watch to the last pick because it was more intelligent. It was a more intelligent analysis and process. It's not anymore. It's, you know, anyway, I probably will not. I don't know what I'll do in terms of Saturday. We're going to do an ITP fantasy show Saturday evening where where we talk about the draft and discuss impact players and all of that. So I'll definitely be paying attention, but because of the way the draft is framed anymore, Saturday becomes far less important. Has just become far less important to me.
It was kind of fun because the one year we did it, and maybe it started at noon, maybe it started at 9, but that was the year the Titans took Pac-Man. So you can tell how long ago that was. That was like 12 years ago. It was 2005? I think it was.
2005. I was in
He's still
Vegas.
in the NFL. Shh,
I was in.
barely.
I will never forget. I was in Vegas. Do we have time? Real quick. I was in Vegas. I negotiated
We have time for you say when I was in Vegas, we have time.
one of my girlfriends was like, I need you to go to Vegas with me. My dad's getting married. I want to surprise him. I'm like, draft weekend. She was like, I'm your friend. I'm like, okay, here's the deal. We'll do this, but I'll break with tradition for you, but I have to be in, because of the time difference, the pick was like at 9. It's like, I have to see who the Titans pick. And when we get through with all the wedding festivities, it was a day wedding. When we get through with all the wedding festivities, I get to watch the rest of the draft. And she's like, deal, deal, deal. And so we're in Vegas, and I think this was on Saturday. We got there Thursday evening. I was operating on marginal sleep. Getting ready for the wedding. It's 9:00. I think they had like the 5th or 6th selection. I can't remember which. And I'm like,
Number 6, magic number.
number 6. So I'm like, oh, let's, and I'm like sitting there, and I sort of thought Antron Roll was going to be whatever his name was, Roll. I thought he was going to be the pick. I wasn't sure. It's one of those years where a lot of different directions the Titans could go in, and they picked Pac-Man, and the name gets announced. It's Pac-Man Jones, and the camera, and and it flashes to. I guess they had cameras at wherever Pac-Man was, and it was like, there's Pac-Man, and there's all the pot smoke just boiling around the room, and I'm like, shoot me now. And I was legitimately depressed through the whole wedding. My friend, at one point, my friend was like, would you please get out of your doldrums and get, and I'm like, the Titans picked Pac-Man, and so when finally all the wedding stuff was over and we were able to hit a bar, we're sitting at the bar, and I've got a margarita, and I'm like, just sitting there, drinking my drink, and I turned and I looked to her and I said, the Titans drafted fucking Pac-Man Jones. And I said, you mark my words, they are going to regret that. And boy, did they ever.
It's kind of crazy that he's still in the league because he had like a year suspension, and that was way before the league got kind of suspension crazy. And like the Cowboys gave him a shot, didn't work out. And then he's been with the Bengals for a long time. I mean, he had some issue this offseason too. Way to go. Never change, Pac-Man, But he made that interception in that game where they came back to beat the Giants, and he was a good returner. And but he just did not have it all together. And that's
Lewis
important.
had the weed.
It does not matter if you're a great player. If you're going to screw around off the field, that's probably going to come back to bite you. With, kind of like Pac-Man. Anyway, I still have the jersey, by the way. My mom bought a jersey of Pac-Man, and he never played for the team again after that. So that's part of my exciting. Chris Johnson or Jake Locker. Yeah, my jersey collection's bad. I got rid of my old Wycheck and George. I probably should have kept them because those guys never tarnished their reputation.
I
Never.
had a Steve McNair away, and I had a Steve McNair white jersey, and I'm an idiot. I just will say that I am an idiot, and I regret not keeping it.
That's my one of my Hall of Fame jerseys. Yeah, I got the Steve McNair Tennessee Oilers. I picked one of those up. That was nice. But yep. You're hoping, yeah, some guys on the current team become that. Okay, last over it or nah.
Okay.
Predators fever.
Nah. Really, my new avatar is me in a Predators jersey, and man, live hockey is fun, and God knows I love football more than is healthy, and Delaney Walker more than is healthy, and it's a wonderful team sport, and can be a beautiful game. But there is absolutely nothing that compares to playoff hockey. And I really need to get to Nashville and go to a Preds playoff game.
Well, I was talking to my parents last year, and I was like, man, it'd be cool to go to a playoff game. But their first round was not, I don't think they had a game at home on a weekend. But they actually are playing this Sunday. I think it's game 3 at 3 o'clock in Nashville, and that's going to be like a Titans playoff game kind of atmosphere. I heard the first round was pretty nuts.
It was crazy. Oh my gosh.
It's hard to compare because they're pretty much the 8th seed in the West, and they played the number 1 Chicago, and they swept them in 4 games. Now, I think 2 or 3 of the games were close.
And the Blackhawks have legitimately been a nemesis for them. And I'm going to get choked up. I'm going to get choked up. Wait, whoa.
We're getting emotional about hockey. Nice.
I'm so proud. I'm just so proud of the Preds for what they did. It just is amazing how well they did.
Yeah, last year was at the beach.
I'm not sorry.
I was at the beach with family, and that was the 7th game against San Jose, and they just got blasted. But they did really well to get that far. I mean, I think this is as far as they've ever been, the second round. So
no, I don't. I think
they're playing the Blues.
They've been to the second round once before, but they didn't do well. I think like two or 3 years ago. I'm pretty sure.
Last year they lost in the second round.
Okay.
San Jose, and San Jose made it to the finals.
Okay. I knew that they.
I was thinking family showdown, Penguins and Preds, but we'll see. They're both in the second round. I'm not going to go too in depth. I was going to do a little beer thing because I had a nice beer gathering on Saturday. It was fun to hang out with friends. I brought crazy ass beer because I hang out with people, drink some good stuff. I got to have my one Kentucky breakfast stout. Mike Margosian has like 5 4-packs, but I got one.
Love mine.
And it matches up to the Goose Island. The Goose Island's like $13 a bottle. This was $6. So if you find it next year, get it. And the last beer of the night I had the Monday night, had a bourbon barrel, drafty kilt, bourbon barrel Scotch ale. I need to get more of that. It was good. So do that. Find the beer you like, save it up for a special event. Find people who really like beer as well. That's always fun. So that's about all I got. I don't have any new material, but I believe Sharona's got some stuff to share. A little bit.
Well, let's see. I probably missed something. We did an ITP mock draft that I participated in, and I compiled my selections. I had, excuse me, that was weird, wasn't it?
Well,
I know, like a cough and then a little hiccup and a burp. So let's see. I represented the Titans and the Panthers, and I collated, compiled my picks, and so you can find that out there on my website. And I tried to keep the fans updated on the fan experience in Philadelphia, which really does sound like it should be pretty incredible. So you can find that at ITP Inside the Pylon. And excuse me. The other thing is I participated in Mike Mayock's conference call a few days ago, which was like one of the best things that you kind of have these little milestones and things, and just listening to Mike Mayock talk about the draft and the knowledge and the enthusiasm, and he's just such a you never really know how someone is, but I really do feel like he's such a great person. And so that was wonderful, and I did a little thing on that, so you can check that out too.
Yeah, that's the only problem with draft coverage. I don't know if you have a preference between the ESPN and NFL Network, but they tend to have like as many guys as a pregame show, like 20 guys. And it seems like most of them have the opinion of the drunk guy next to you at the bar. But then you have the guys who cover it 24/7, and they're the ones you want to hear.
Yeah.
Although I wouldn't mind sitting next to Matt Wallman during the undrafted draft. That'd be fun. So maybe I should check out the Audible. There's a show called The Audible. I think they're doing a live one on Thursday, so that might be a worthy one to check out. But there are alternatives. If you don't like the NFL Network, you don't like ESPN, I believe SB Nation's doing a big one. Like you're doing one that's a kind of like Panthers focus, but obviously they're only making one pick in the top 10, so you got other stuff to cover. And I guarantee you Sharona's involved is going to be entertaining. Although she won't have any beer, she better stock up for that.
I'm going to. I hope to.
Sharona's beer situation. I could probably be there in a couple hours if you need.
I'm all about it. Here, let me text you the address.
Because when I saw Dragon's Milk Bombers for $8, I'm like, oh, Sharona would like that. That would be.
You didn't buy me any?
I don't know when our next reunion will be, unless maybe it's like Predators in the Stanley Cup Finals. We'll have to go up to Nashville. I don't even want to necessarily be in the stadium. I'll just watch the game because you're right. There is an intensity to playoff hockey.
Playoff hockey is so great.
It's like the one of the top like 3 NFL playoff games of the year, but then they play like 7 of them each round. It's a bit tough just because there's a lot to it. Because you're like in game 1, geez, these guys have another 6 games to go potentially. I mean, you can play 28 games in the playoffs and play to the finals. It's good stuff. So yeah, look at me trying to talk up other sports. Uh-oh.
I don't even know you
What's
anymore.
next? I drink a beer without flavor in it. What? That's wrong.
That'll be the day.
Sports by Sharona. Follow her. Be smart. Zach _law. Occasionally I retweet smart people, so try that if you must. Dawn, I hope you feel better now with my shiny face and a little bass next time, a little powder. Anyway, thanks everybody for listening, watching, and here's my grits.